Thank you, Jessica, for that cultural lesson. And lastly, McCrae West with the Caucus team.
Thank you, Harrison. Let me tell you about a man. His beard starts at the top of his cheeks, and it flows all the way down to deep into his waistline. His eyes are old, but they're alive inside, and they're tinted with an antique gray. He walks with a limp, no swagger in his step, though, constantly moving forward, never stopping. He wears a robe that's old and frayed, but he always moves forward. He has survived every famine, every war, and every disease known to man. No, not Gandalf. And no, not Dumbledore either. Father Time. He is the keeper of the clock, ticking away at the relevancy of the world around you. He moves through technologies, through species, through people, through culture groups, always moving forward. And to quote the author of Fight Club, Chuck P., this is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. Now, since Father Time plays no favorites or partiality, to learn about extinction is of the utmost importance. So today we're going to examine extinction and what it means to us on a day-to-day basis. We're going to talk about the depths of extinction through people and through other cultural references. So first up, I'm going to talk to you about how extinction affects people groups. And then we're going to travel through time and see extinction in the natural world. And lastly, just before the end of the hour, we're going to see the extinction of two ideas. Now, there's a lot of people on this planet. Some can say that humanity could use an extinction. Worldmeters.com keeps a running tally on their website, one of the most accurate and responsible resources for the global population. It constantly is ticking forward the number of people every single day. And they also have a scale that shows the birth rate and the death rate. That every few seconds, a few people are born and a person dies. A few people are born and a person dies. The cycle is constantly moving forward. Today, the global population is approximately 7.03 billion people. I didn't check it this morning, but that's what it was on Tuesday. Probably changed by, according to their site, 200,000 people per day, at least, depending on war and famine and what's going on in the globe. That's an average. Now, in 1804, the population reached 1 billion people. And it took a whopping 123 years to 1927 to grow from 1 billion to 2 billion people. Last year, the population from 6 billion to 7 billion people took 12 years. Now, you guys may be thinking, well, this is because people are living longer and they're having more sex, or Father Time is slipping. I don't think this is the case. I think that we as humans, we face extinctions too. Even this year, we lost Dick Clark. The man that never ages is dead. So one of the extinctions that man potentially could face are floods. Scientists are throwing around a big term called global warming, that the planet's ice caps are melting. Due to human pollution and unnatural interference, man has kicked the cord out of the socket on God's freezer, and the world is beginning to thaw. Now, imagine this with me, okay? We have a water world. All the ice is melted. The entire planet is covered in ocean. The only land masses that are left are clumps of garbage from overflowing landfills. Maybe we could even get Kevin Costner to be our leader. Now, Robert Johnson, an environmental expert, I do this because that's his title, not because I'm mocking him. He says that if all the ice caps were to melt instantly, the waters of the oceans would rise globally 250 feet. That's a lot. But he says, thankfully, this is a gradual process and it's going to take more accurately about 1,000 years. But we still need to be ready. Another extinction that humanity faces is the extinction of the smoker. Now, before you smokers in the crowd, do we have any smokers here? Before you smokers in the crowd light up and tell me that I need to shove it and that Father Time is a crackpot, I'm not saying don't smoke. I'm saying let's try not to become nicotine dependent. Now, the CDC tells us that there are approximately 50 million American smokers. And of those, 440,000 people die annually. Another 8.6 million suffer from smoking-related causes, such as emphysema and secondhand smoke. Now, the icing on the cake, the proverbial icing on the cake, as Alex discussed, is that those people cost us taxpayers $97 billion per year. Now, I know smoking is hip and cool, but when you're nicotine dependent, you're really running or wheezing out of time. Now that we've talked about some potential extinctions that humans face, we're going to travel back in time and look at extinctions in the natural world. And we're going to start with everybody's favorite, dinosaurs. Now, I know some of you may want these prehistoric beauties to return. But if we've learned anything from 3 Jurassic Park movies, is that humans and dinosaurs do not mix. I think Father Time actually spared us with that ice age that wiped them out. Ironically, the world was destroyed by ice, and then it might be destroyed by water. It's a cycle. 65 million years ago, dinosaurs ruled the earth. They walked around, they breathed the same air, they ate plants, and they ate each other. There was everything from a trained hunter like the velociraptor, all the way to the 50-foot tall, gentle giants like the bronchiosaurus. But if anything has shown us in Jurassic Park that if we go toe-to-toe with a dinosaur, we're doomed. To quote Michael Crichton's masterpiece, Jurassic Park, God made dinosaurs. God killed dinosaurs. God made man. Man killed dinosaurs. Man makes dinosaurs. Dinosaurs kills man. Any situation we're looking at going head-to-head with dinosaurs, we face extinction. Now, it would be improper for me to discuss extinction and not talk about the rainforest. Everybody do this and get a somber face on your face right now for the rainforest. Class, no trees means no oxygen. Savvy? Okay, now that we've looked at some of the extinctions among people groups, and then we saw how extinction affects the natural world around us, we're going to look at 2 extinct ideas. Now, I know we all remember tell me if you remember this. You go to check your email, you have to start an hour earlier because you can no longer check it on your phone. You have to use dial-up. Does everybody remember this sound? Does everybody remember the dial-up? Okay, good. We're the same generation. That's wonderful. In elementary and middle school, my best friend in the world, his name was Ethan. And Ethan and I would get into all sorts of mischief. And we would go over to each other's houses. We'd have water gun wars. We'd make fun of his sister. We'd have lots of different activities that would get us into trouble. But I distinctly remember one day his dad picks us up in his brand new $60,000 black BMW. And as we open the doors and we slide into the back seats, they were leather. That's how you could slide. And I hear this distinct ringing, something I had never encountered before. And his father reached into the console and pulled out a car phone. He began to do the day's business, and I began to think, I have never seen a phone in the car. Well, today, most of us still never see phones in the car. Now, car phones began almost like the radio man in a war movie. You ever seen a war movie and they've got that guy with the big radio pack and it's got all these antennas and the sergeant walks near him and talks on the phone? Well, that big black pack, that's what you used to hide in your trunk of your car. And that big combat antenna, that's what you would stick on the hood of your car. Now, through satellites and different technologies, eventually the mobile phone was formed. Now, Dr. Vail can attest that the first mobile phone was like a giant white cinder block brick. It was about this tall. It was about that wide. And you had to talk like this. And you never could get any good reception, even though it was the size of a white cinder block brick. Now, unfortunately for the car phone, the 3G revolution came along, and class, everybody do this with me, because we're going to say a title. The digital age began, and cell phones, modern cell phones, were named king. And thus, the cord was severed on the car phone. The last idea that has become extinct that I'd like to talk to you about today is the idea that the world is flat. Thousands of years ago, Greek sailors actually thought that if you sailed too far, you'd fall right off the face of the earth. Of course, we think of that as absurd because all of us we've studied geography. But back then, traders and sailors never really would go too far from shore to do their mercantile business. And they really thought that if you sailed to the horizon, that was the edge of the earth. It's kind of a scary thought. And thus the legend began that the world is flat. And eventually it evolved into kind of a dome shape. But nevertheless, when you reached the edge of the domes, you fell off into nothingness. You fell off into space. You fell off into onward. Of course, this was proven to be an extinct idea with Ferdinand Magellan, who was the first to circumnavigate the globe and determine that the globe actually has curvature. That if you keep going in the horizon, eventually you're either going to hit more ocean or you're going to hit land. And Columbus found that out the hard way, taking the wrong turn. Instead of going to India, he went over to Americas and discovered, well, wait, he didn't discover anything because there were already people waving at him on the beach. My history professor used to say that you didn't discover a place if you get there and there's people already standing there going, who's this white guy? Now, whether it's dinosaurs or smokers, whether it's car phones or flat earth believers, things come, things go. This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. And with all of our new technologies and new ideas and with such a fast birth rate, new people, the world of today is becoming extinct to the world of tomorrow. Let me give you one last example. 500 years ago, they, the collective they knew the world was flat. They believed it. 150 years ago, they knew that all white landowners were created equal. Who knows what they'll know tomorrow? And honestly, the reality is this, that Father Time, the keeper of the clock, is still moving forward, and the clock is ticking.